Sean, let's start talking about Joe Flacco. Man, who would have thunk it that this move would have happened? Traded to the Bengals in the division for a 5th-round pick. There's also a pick swap where a 6th-rounder is going back to – the Cincinnati also gets a 6th-rounder in addition to Joe Flacco. Biggest headline that comes with this, Shedeur could get onto the field sooner. That is the biggest thing that stood out to me with this. Yes, they've been talking about that on Get Up every single morning for about 45 minutes, and then they'll get to the other segments for about 2. Mm-hmm. This is the signal for me that the Browns are packing it in, and they're going to see what they can get out of either rookie and see if either one of them they can build around before they pivot to the next draft.
Well, can we both agree this was a ridiculous venture from step one?
Yeah.
Like just the idea that in 2025 we're rolling out a team with Joe Flacco, who has become America's darling somehow, played on a detestable Baltimore Ravens team for years, couldn't stand those teams. And now he's just old and he's Joe Cool. He's Joe Lame. That's who he is. And he's been Joe. Nice. He's been Joe Bad for years.
Oh, man, right? You're really slinging it today.
Dude, I'm telling you, Joe Flacco.
Wordsmith Sean Anderson.
I mean, here, Joe Flacco, he's been lauded in his later years about having just such a good spiral and being the adult in the room. No one's saying he's got a big arm. No one's saying he's got the killer mentality. 2 things that Joe Burrow has in Cincinnati, and you're replacing Joe Burrow with Jake Browning, and now Joe Flacco, even worse, in my opinion. Jake Browning at least has a 20-something-year-old arm. Joe Flacco is 40.
But Joe's name is Joe, and that's close enough to Joe Burrow. So we're making a little progress there.
It's a ridiculous venture. Is this Cincinnati's lifeline to say, oh, well, if Burrow can come back in week 15 and we're still treading water, maybe. And is Joe Flacco the best option in the NFL to come and save your season or at least keep you buoyant? I don't think so.
Well, I think that the problem is that he was the best option of teams that were willing to move a startable quality quarterback. He's probably the worst available startable backup level quarterback for a team, but Mac Jones isn't getting moved anytime soon because Brock Purdy's been so banged up. Why would they get rid of someone who's so reliable? And Carson Wentz has been the other backup that stepped in, and he's also been incredibly reliable for the Vikings and for how they've played so far. Cooper Rush is mega shit, so we don't think that he has any trade value at the current moment. You know what was kind of crazy to me about this? The report from Diana Rossini, which she gets a lot of shit wrong lately, that there were no phone calls made to the Giants about Jameis Winston or for Russell Wilson. So that was a little surprising to me because both of those guys are better options than Joe Flacco.
How about Sam Howell? How about you take a flyer on that guy? At least
is he really worth it?
No, but he's as worth it as Joe Flacco is. I mean, God honest truth. If we're living in the reclamation project era of the NFL quarterbacking, which we are certainly entrenched in, up to our knees in guys that flamed out, had to get humbled, come back on the rise. Why are we doing this with Joe Flacco, who has had as much peaks as valleys as anybody could have in the NFL? Go get a reclamation guy. Dear God.
Trade for AR. I mean, I would bring in Anthony Richardson and say, screw it.
Trade for any guy that follows the trend in this copycat league of, well, they just been taking time learning. He wasn't ready when he first got in. Shocker. But he took a year or two, and now he's better. Anything better than a guy that's just been there. And then you can sit here and champion the experience. All that works until you hit about 37. Once you hit about 37 as a quarterback, your utility is your base knowledge, not your athleticism, not your ability to win a game. It is just your knowledge and experience in the game. That's why they're good coaches, because they float around and they just have great brains for football. For winning football for the Bengals, is he going to be a difference maker for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? No. So what is this venture? I will not stand by this being Cincinnati's best option, go all out play to try to save this season.